Hello, coaches, and welcome to the Coach C Basketball Analytics Podcast. In today's episode, I will break down the Auburn versus Ole Miss game, final score 85-79, and analyze it strictly through an analytics basketball lens. This game provides a clear teaching example of how efficiency control and real-time adjustments determine outcomes. This is not about criticism. This is a technical evaluation of how data-driven strategy, or the lack of it, influences winning. When studying this game, the first area to evaluate is efficiency. Ole Miss shot 53.4% from the field and 40% from three, 10 for 25. Auburn shot 33.3% from three, 8 for 24. That 6-point difference from the three-point line equals the final margin. From an analytics perspective, when Auburn allowed 40% from three, that should have triggered an immediate defensive adjustment. At that level, you cannot allow a team to stay comfortable from the perimeter. Auburn's defense did not force Ole Miss outside its comfort zone. There was no pass denial to shooters. The point guard was allowed to control the offensive balance and play at his rhythm. There was no consistent effort to disrupt timing or make Ole Miss uncomfortable. Shooters caught the ball where they were standing, clean and in rhythm. They were not forced to put it on the floor or work hard to get open and earn their shots. And at this level, when you allow rhythm, efficiency becomes a problem. Inside the lane, there was no consistent fronting of the post to disrupt entry passing angles. Without denying first options or disrupting timing, the offense stays organized and comfortable. And when an offense is comfortable, it plays with confidence. Analytics basketball demands disruption. It demands making the opponent uncomfortable and unstable in its execution. Now let's evaluate possessions. Ole Miss had approximately 69 possessions. Auburn had 67. Auburn did not create extra possessions. And when Auburn failed to reduce opponent efficiency, the next lever had to be possession volume. That means pressure, forced turnovers, rebounding control, tempo changes. Something had to shift. Ole Miss committed only 9 turnovers. Auburn committed 13. That indicates limited defensive disruption. No pressure defense, no steals, and no possession advantage created. Points per possession reinforced the same conclusion. Ole Miss scored approximately 1.2 three-pointers per possession. Auburn scored about 1.18. Auburn's offensive efficiency was competitive. The difference was defensive control. Ole Miss was not forced into a lower point production per possession, to a level where they would become beatable. The lack of efficient defense forced Auburn into a predictable half-court 5-on-5 game. Without stops, there is no transition. The game slows down and becomes structured and set. Analytics does not favor predictable half-court basketball, particularly for a team without dominant size and consistent point production in the paint. Without a transition offense to create early numerical advantage situations, Auburn operated primarily around the perimeter and above the free throw line extended, placing reliance and more pressure on three-point shooting. Analytics basketball requires continuous monitoring of critical indicators: opponent three-point percentage, points per possession allowed, turnover differential, total possessions, point production distribution. Those numbers are not post-game discussion points. They are live indicators. They tell you when coverage has to change, when pressure has to increase, when tempo has to shift, when personnel matchups need adjustment. If those indicators are not being tracked and acted on in real time, the game controls you instead of you controlling the game. When those elements trend unfavorably and no tactical adjustments follow, the opponent stays comfortable and efficient. And when the opponent is comfortable and efficient, the outcome becomes predictable. In this matchup, Auburn did not produce an observable data-driven defensive adjustment that disrupted rhythm, denied primary and favored scoring options, or shifted the efficiency curve. The math throughout the game remained stable in Ole Miss's favor. When Auburn did not change the math decided the game. Coaches, the lesson here is simple. Data-driven basketball requires identifying the key metrics that tilt the game and responding to them in real time. Control the rhythm of the game. Minimize the opponent's possession time. Reduce their points per possession. Control the boards. Without those adjustments, you do not gain a competitive edge, and your chances of winning games or championships become very small. Well, that wraps up today's episode. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you being part of this community. Analytics basketball helps control outcomes at every level. Until next time, keep coaching with mathematical purpose and compete to win.